All right. Hello, everyone. Sounds like everyone's having an amazing morning. Thank you so much for lending me some of your time today. Um, so this presentation, and let me go ahead and share my screen here. I believe that's what I'm supposed to do, right? Somebody? Yes, no?
Yes, yes, now you can.
All righty. Cool. Can you guys see my screen?
It is loading. Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So, as it was already shared, this presentation is going to be very short, sweet, and non-technical. And we're calling this one How to Game the Digital Marketing with Artificial Intelligence. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to give you, guys, again, a high-level overview about what is AI, if you haven't heard enough about it already. I'm going to give you my own take on an analogy of what is AI, and then we're going to talk about different applications for AI within the digital marketing industry, and I'm going to relate that very specifically to the multifamily marketing space. And so let's get on with it. And before I actually start talking, my name is Victor Dozel. I am the VP of Engineering here at Digible. And yeah, let's move on. So the agenda is going to be, like I said, a bit about AI. Then we're going to talk about real-time tracking and personalization. We're going to talk about content marketing, security and fraud, customer service, which would include chatbots, and last but not least, reputation management. So here's a little bit about AI. The way I like to think about AI is imagine that you're trying to have a system that can tell you whether two different pictures or a different set of pictures, how many of those pictures are houses versus how many of those pictures are buildings. So you can have a general algorithm that can try to determine what is a house versus what is a picture, but then you're going to have to try to determine what are the many different configurations in which you can have those pixels laid out so that you can determine what is a building versus what is a house. So my own little analogy, or just an analogy on how to think about AI, is imagine you have an aisle somewhere with a bunch of drunken monkeys, and you're trying to hand over pictures to these monkeys, and they collectively have to determine what is a house versus what is a building. And so you hand the picture over to the monkeys, and then they tell you, hey, you hand the picture of a house, and they tell you, hey, this is a building. And then you slap their hands and you say, no, that is a house. And so next time you give them a picture, you give them a building and they say, that's a house. And then you slap their hand again and you say, no, that's a building. And so you continue to do this, and you give them bananas whenever they get the right answer. At some point, these drunken monkeys are going to be able to tell you collectively what is the right answer. And so maybe a couple of monkeys in the island are not going to give you the right answer, but again, collectively, they're going to give you the right answer. So again, the next slides are me. I'm going to give you some ideas on how artificial intelligence can be used for digital marketing. And let me see, check my notes here. Yeah, so I may or may not point towards very specific products in the next slides. But again, I'm going to give you ideas of how AI can be used. So let's move on to real-time tracking and personalization. So as we know, personalization of content and experiences is one of the what some people may call holy grails of digital marketing. I think we can all agree that if we could create a very specific ad for every single person in the world that we were trying to target, conversion rates would probably be through the roof, and the cost per lead would go dramatically down. And so there are a ton of tools that help with tracking users' data and stitch it all together to try to come up with an idea of the user journey at a quantitative, I always struggle with this word, quantitative level. But there are not many tools out there, at least to my knowledge, that can help you make a decision qualitatively. And so AI would help analyze each user and every journey as if it was the only user the AI cared about. Of course, if we think about it logically, this is still quantitative, but the AI will treat each user as if that is the only user that the AI cares about. So an example of this, and I'm not going to pull up the website, that's something that we can share later, but there's a company that is attempting to do this. Their name is 6 Sense, if you guys want to Google them. And this is an example of a tool that promises to use AI to help track the complete user journey, all the way from the beginning of the journey to the end, and then help optimize for each individual in order to lower the advertising investments while improving the advertising results. So again, well, yeah, I'm gonna leave it there for now. Let's move on to content marketing. So content marketing is something that is up and coming, and content marketing can include natural language generation and also the generation of graphics or images and videos. And so I don't believe that today content marketing has been exploited to the level that it can be, at least not in digital marketing and definitely not in the multifamily space. And so the question here is, what would happen, again, if we could tailor each experience of content to match the brand of each of the properties you're working with? Not only that, but what would happen if you could tailor the content to the brand of the property and each of the users that you were targeting? Well, that's exactly what AI can do for you. With enough training and a sprinkle of data from the property or properties that you're working with, artificial intelligence can generate content that is brand, location, and amenity specific. And right now, I am proud to say that at the moment, I believe Digible is at the forefront of content marketing and creation in the multifamily space through Fiona. So far, we have deployed content generation on Google Posts, automated emails, that tell, well, Google Posts and automated emails that tell marketers what is going on with their portfolio in plain English, very nice English with funny jokes and quirkiness. And so we do this every day, or Fiona does this every day. And we're soon planning on deploying our content generation on other platforms other than Google Posts. So there is other ways to create personalized content on the graphic design side. I do not yet know of a company that creates images for ads based on users' data, but I do believe that could come very soon. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the world of artificial intelligence, but there's this new technology called DALL-E. I'm sure you guys, some of you guys have heard of it at some point, but basically it's a technology that takes in as inputs natural language and it converts that natural language to an image. I'm gonna do a very quick demo right now, just because I think it's a very cool technology. Give me 1 second here. All right, so can you guys still see my screen? Perfect. Yes. So I'm gonna type in something quirky here. I'm gonna say a dog eating a donut next to a rainbow. So I'm gonna run this. It's gonna take about maybe 10 to 15 seconds. And again, if I type this in Google, Google's gonna struggle to find something relevant. We'll see if this AI can do something good for us here. But again, imagine that you had the complete user journey, and then you had content marketing, just text that was able to say, hey, based on this user's interests and their journey, this is the content that would be better for them. Again, just a piece of text. And here's an image that is that can be associated to that piece of text based on this natural language generation. I personally think that would be really cool, and I think that would convert very well. So this technology is failing me here. Maybe I gave it too much, a lot more than it can handle. It's been 45 seconds. Let's give it a few more seconds here.
Probably because you're sharing, Victor. I'm disappointed you didn't do drunken monkey with a banana, because that's what you started the presentation with.
Should have done that. Well, we'll come back to this one in a little bit. Maybe in a couple of slides. Let's let it think for a little bit. So, yeah, with that said, let's actually move on to, well, actually, before I move on, there's one more bit of, this is not necessarily content marketing, but this is highly relevant to content marketing. As you have robots or AI that basically generate the content for you, you could very well be exposed to problems with fair housing because you don't know exactly what this robot is talking about. So in this case, for example, we have another technology within the Fiona ecosystem that is able to detect both, well, it's able to detect within natural language whether somebody or something is breaking unfair housing rules. And so if you combine all of the AI together, all of the natural language generation tools, all of the graphic design generation tools, to come up with a system, it can be a very strong, resilient system for anything that you can really think about. So there we go, a dog eating a donut next to a rainbow. And so again, imagine that you could apply this sort of technology to any real user journey, any person, anything, any piece of text that you wanted to serve to the customer. I think you could create a lot of really great, a really great marketing experience for customers. So let me go back here, slideshow. Let's now move on to security and fraud. So there are many different types of technologies that help bad people steal passwords, credit card information, digital goods and services, and multiple other types of security and fraud things. With that said, there are also multiple technologies on the good side that help protect people against security threats and fraud. So in the past, I'm going to say 10 plus years ago, and even today, there's still a lot of what are called procedural tools that help do all kinds of bad things. But the more technology progresses, there are now artificial intelligence tools that help people do bad things. And so just like there are bad people doing bad things with AI, there are great people doing great things with AI. And so in the future, I personally can envision a world of cybersecurity where humans are no longer trying to create technology to attack or defend against attacks, but rather artificial intelligence that learns from badly devised attacks and artificial intelligence that learns from badly defended attacks. At the moment, there are already tools that help prevent certain security attacks and fraud. An example of this for the digital marketing space is a company called ClickSeize. I believe they're pretty popular today, and you guys may have heard of it. And this company helps prevent against fraudulent clicks, both on Google ads and Facebook ads. And well, this is important because according to their data, roughly 20% of the ad spend on these platforms are due to fraudulent clicks. So there's a potentially good way to save 20% on your ad spend. Now let's move on to customer service chatbots. So our dear chatbots, I don't think I need to say really a lot here. Chatbots have been around for several years and continue to get faster, better, more efficient, and cheaper. And I think what I really need to say here is if you're not already leveraging the power of chatbots, at the very least in your property website to handle general customer inquiries and schedule tours, well, you need to get on the bandwagon. I think encouraging potential customers to call is great, but a lot of the times calls are missed because properties are just too busy to answer. And therefore, the interested people end up going to a different place simply because the property didn't answer. And so, yeah, you should give it a shot. I'm going to give you guys just a very quick demo again of a very quirky chatbot that I found earlier today. And again, this is an example of how good chatbots have gotten in the near future. And so I was having a conversation with a chatbot, and that apparently it still wants to talk, even though I've been ignoring it. But the chatbot basically said, "Hey, I'm Cookie. I'm a friendly AI here to chat with you 24/7. What's your name?" And I said, "I don't want to tell you my name." And she said, "Fair enough then. Not much of a point in visiting a chatbot if you don't want to talk." And then I said, "But I do want to talk." And then she said, "Okay, you've come to the right place." And then I said, "Okay, now I don't want to talk." "Yeah, okay. Why not?" I'm assuming this was misspelled, but she said, "Why visit a chatbot then?" And then I said, "I'm bored." And then she said, "Try watching TV." And apparently she's now recommending stuff that I should watch. So again, this was all done in less than a second. The chatbot was able to parse whatever I was saying and give me a very logical and natural response to everything I was saying. Here's the interesting thing. Apparently you can now have video chats with this particular chatbot. I have not tried it, but that is kind of cool if you ask me. Well, yeah, not only video chat, but also voice chat. So if you guys want to give it a shot, if you guys are bored at home, doing whatever, just get in touch with Cookie. So back here. And well, let's move on to the last slide here. Check on time. I'm good. So reputation management. So this one, again, reputation management is truly simple. I believe everybody wants to be able to manage their, to the best of their ability, their property's online reputation and be there to help a customer who has recently had a bad experience. So here's an idea. What if we could, and this idea has been partly implemented, but not the full thing yet. So what if we could track exactly where and when a bad review was received? So as I said, there are already a ton of tools that help do this, but let's take it up a notch. What if we could also help tell when a 5-star review, a 4-star review, or just a generally good review contains negative thoughts or comments? It happens. And so what would happen if you still got alerted if you got a 5 or 4-star review, but because the customer said everything was great, I just wish X was better. And then at that point, you could respond or have a team of people respond and say, hey, we appreciate the great review and we will make that thing better. I think that would make the property look extremely good. Now, here's another interesting idea. And I do believe this is a great business idea, and I may go build it right after this presentation. So what if you could have an end-to-end reputation management artificial intelligence system that detected when a property received a bad review, sent an alert to the appropriate people, and then instantly responded to the review using natural language generation? And therefore, again, you would reduce the costs of the whole system overall. There would be no one having to monitor the reviews. And also the customers would feel a lot better instantly because somebody is checking up on them. What if even taking even a step further, what if you could link the customer to a certain place where they could then have a conversation with a chatbot to get them through whatever problems they are facing or faced in the past? Again, it's a far-fetched dream, but I do think that with enough time and money, anything is possible. So let's move on. So for this session takeaways, I do believe that we should all be exploring AI for cost savings. We should be exploring AI for correctness. We should be exploring AI for speed. And more than anything, we should be exploring AI to not be left behind. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Are there any questions?
Victor, what's the chance that you get more YouTube subscribers off of your presentation?
If you send me the presentation and I do some light edits, I think there's a very good chance.
Well, Victor, you mentioned on the reputation management, kind of the soup to nuts. I think you might want to offer some distinction on what NLG, like, I guess the level, I don't know if that's the right way to approach this, but already there's systems that do a lot of what you described. And so, you know, for marketers and people tuning in saying that technology already exists, can you, I guess, expand a little bit on maybe the sophistication of the NLG that you're referring to? So if I get a bad comment and, you know, I want to prompt an immediate responses, there's tons of tech already that has templates. It's like, oh, this had negative sentiment, and so therefore we need to show some empathy, acknowledge, like, you know, kind of repeat back what the issue was. And then usually I think they'll be like, somebody will be in touch, maybe not always, but yeah, I'm just trying to tee you up a little bit on how that could evolve through both NLG and NLP. You didn't mention NLP. That's another one, I think, as we talk acronyms, that people get tripped up on. It's like, what is the difference between the two? So yeah, do you have any other thoughts or comments on how that response, you know, you're expecting AI to really evolve that from where?
Yeah, so to give a quick answer to the difference between NLP and NLG, so natural language processing versus natural language generation. Processing is just taking data in as far as natural language. So how does a machine understand language. And natural language generation is just how does a machine write English or language overall. And so as far as the sentiment analysis and how to respond to reviews, again, here's an idea, and here's already something that we're doing with Fiona's content generation. We're taking in a lot of property specific data, their brand, their amenities, their location, the things around them. And then from there, we're determining what is the best content to be served up to users. So again, what if with the reputation management system, this AI that could automatically respond, it could take in all of that data, including, again, the brand of the property, the amenities, the people on staff, the locations around the property. It could understand that not only the sentiment, but the meaning of what the person is saying with a bad review, and it could respond with a combination of all that data. That is the capability of AI. And again, that is something that we're doing already here with Fiona, with Google Posts. But it can, I believe, that can be applied to many other places or products.
Cool.
Any other questions from anyone? Or thoughts, ideas, impressions?
Well, Victor, I think Reed and I were hitting you on a podcast before about like how quickly, what's your prediction on how quickly AI will take off? Meaning, you know, I think some people think it's going to hit in like 2030 and then take over the world, and then some people think it's, you know, much further out. I'm just wondering how you would frame it for folks to say, when would it impact people's everyday life versus when does it become seamless or like you know, like you can't live without it?
I think so that's a really great question, and it really depends on the industry and the product. So let me give you a quick example. I don't know if you guys have seen I don't want to call it a chatbot, but I'm going to call it a chatbot. The chatbot from Google, where they have this Google assistant. A human tells this assistant, hey, Google, go and make me an appointment to get a haircut. And then the bot calls the shop, and this bot is able to instantly and quickly respond to every question and inquiry from the haircut place. They're able to set the appointment. They're able to overcome any barriers as far as, hey, this time is not available. What about this one? And the bot is quickly able to respond. I don't think that that has been released for the general public, but that is very close. So that's an example of something that could be 2 years away. Whereas something like Tesla with self-driving cars, if you think about that, that's here today. Maybe it's not super accessible yet because of the cost limitations, but as the just the manufacturing costs go down, everybody's gonna have a self-driving car eventually. Just like iPhone started back in 2008, 6. I don't even know when that happened. But back then, only a few people were able to have iPhones or smartphones overall. And maybe in 3 to 5 years, everybody was able to have iPhones. And so I do think there's going to be a progression depending on the product in the industry. But I do think that in maybe 3 to 5 years, there's going to be at least several products that we can't live without. I think of another very good example of that is something and we think about it as something simple now, but something like Siri on the iPhone, something like the Echo from Amazon, something like Google Voice that as you're driving, for example, you can send the text messages. All of those are examples of AI that I personally truly can't live without today. Did that answer your question, David?
I guess it's more about the sentiment, like how I think people get really nervous when they think about their jobs being taken by AI. I mean, we've even experienced that with Fiona. But in reality, I view it like the spreadsheet, right? It's like, this is not something that's coming out of nowhere. We've all seen, there's been changes over everyone's career. So, you know, like my parents starting their career without really a computer, or like I said, like an accountant and coming in and Excel is being introduced to, you know, the web. There's always something changing. So I'm more trying to put people at ease that, like, yes, there's a lot of cool ways we can apply AI, but it's not something that I would be super worried about because our parents went through it. Everybody's gone through major changes. And then it's more about when, you know, I guess if you're not curious, then maybe be scared, because if you're not willing to learn something new, but you know, anybody on this session should, you know, it's here for a reason. So they're curious. So, no worries.
Yeah, I think you're right about, I mean, everything you just said. Technology will continue to move forward. I do believe AI, at least in the next 25, 30 years, is going to be a tool that we humans are going to be using and leveraging. There is always a concern, and this comes from every world expert, that at some point AI could start using us. But I think that if AI is used extremely responsibly, that will never happen. Not only that, but again, we may all be dead by the point AI gets to that point.
Cool.
Victor's favorite movie is Her, in case anybody couldn't guess.
All right, everyone. Any other questions, concerns, ideas, anything they want to share? Examples of how you guys may already be using AI for your own properties?
Oh, that would open up Pandora's box, so won't make anybody go there. Like, nice presentation, Victor. We definitely appreciate it, and obviously grateful to have somebody that's as future thinking as you are, the company leading the tech. So nice work, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.